join the party. I mean, there are people joining in Nimba County. There are people joining in Lofa County. There are people joining much rather. I mean, you see us attending endorsements every week, 2-3 endorsements everywhere.
Are they coming waiting there, or is it that you've got lobbyists negotiating with these people to bring them on board, or are you offering them something as they come on board to the ANC?
I mean, lobbyist is not the right word to use in this instance.
What do we use? What do you think is the right choice of
the right word to use is we have mobilizers that are reaching out to every Liberian citizen. So, no matter what it is, sometimes people join the ANC or pledge support to Mr. Cummins because of the message he takes to the Liberian people wherever he goes or wherever he speaks. So that's one set of people. Another set of people are just ordinary Liberians who believe that, look, this current regime has failed. It cannot remain business as usual. We need to change this country, and they see that Mr. Cummins is bringing fresh ideas, and Mr. Cummins can change the country unlike any other person, and he is truly and honestly committed to real change, and they decide to join the ANC. Again, there are others who are sitting on the fence. We reach out to them in whatever way we can. We have our mobilizers out there in the field engaging Liberian prelates, market women, motorcyclists, and every Liberian. Look, Obed, the task to change Liberia has to involve everybody. It has to be every Liberian involved with that task. So, I mean, we do not count someone as just being big and forget about the rest of the citizenry. We go to everybody, regardless of who you are, where you come from. The only qualification we look at is you being a Liberian and being eligible to vote in our elections.
Aside from those coming in, what exactly is the current happenings in the ANC?
I mean, we are currently working in the CPP now. So the Liberty Party and the Alternative National Congress, as you may be aware, consummated the CPP framework and refiled it. So, I mean, we are working to consolidate the CPP, which obviously is the biggest opposition conglomeration.
Which is debatable.
It is the biggest opposition conglomeration. What's the debate there?
When you say biggest,
how many
the
other...
two parties in there, one have got an issue. Well, chairmanability is still in being...
It's a legitimate chairman of the Liberty Party. That is not debatable.
I'm coming. My point is, the Liberty Party has been split into two factions, with the Senate bearer, vice chairman, vice chair for political affairs, and others on another side, the national secretary, the treasurer, and that of the chairman on another side. What does it mean with the ANC still collaborating with just a faction at the Liberty Party angle?
Obed, we as the ANC do not have the authority to directly interfere in the political structure of our sisterly party. The Liberty Party, it's through its chairman, legally, rightly, joined the collaborating political parties. That is very important. There are people, obviously we're not going to discount that, that feel entitled. Unfortunately,
I still
they
don't
feel
believe
entitled.
that you have the whole Liberty Party.
Excuse me,
And
we have the Liberty Party.
You shouldn't be calling that particular CPP as two institutions.
The CPP is two institutions. It's recognized by the National Elections Commission. There's no way you can say the CPP is not two political institutions. Now, look, when I say we have the largest opposition group in Liberia, I mean, that's the truth. If you look at our most recent political involvement, you know that
you had 7% before.
The combination of the Liberty Party.
You had 7%.
Oh, yeah, the combination of the
Liberty Party has
the
been running
combination, combination of the Liberty Party and the Alternative National Congress represents the largest opposition conglomeration in the Republic of Liberia. That is not debatable. That is a fact. So let's move on to the next thing.
No. It can be a fight when you check the facts.
Okay, then you tell me.
My point
give
is,
me a name of another opposition group that's bigger than the CPP.
Unity Party have got the numbers.
Can you name another opposition?
Hello.
Can you name another opposition collaboration that's bigger than the CPP?
Kesedi, are you bigger than the Unity Party?
We have the largest, the biggest, the strongest, and the most formidable opposition collaboration in the Republic of
What
Liberia.
makes you think so?
Because that's a fact. That's a fact.
Let's move on. I'm going to play a video very quickly.
Okay.
I'll play two videos through the audio on this radio, and then I'll ask you a proceeding question. Hope Eugene can just help out with that very quickly. The first video was the one trending that saw a very negative message to the government. On the government is being condemned across the country. And then there's another video specifically pointing accusing fingers to Alexander Cummings and labeling the negative faction. But let's play this one. Let's listen.
The international community has uncovered a very dangerous plot by George Weah to win the next election by rigging it in order to remain in power, and he'll do it by any means necessary. With less than 600 soldiers in the entire National Army, Weah has raised a secret and very dangerous militia, filled with the worst criminals recruited from Boko Haram and Al-Qaeda. These mercenaries are fully armed and ready to destroy Weah's opposition. They've been well funded with the new missing money. Billions were printed and stolen over the last couple of years. This includes the 8 billions printed earlier this year in 2022 alone. This terrorist group is made up of foreigners from Jamaica, Burkina Faso, Middle East and Nigeria. Locally, they've also recruited and trained ATU rebels from former warlord Taylor through Monrovia's city mayor, Jefferson Kugi. Unfortunately for the Grand Gideons, their county is being used as a training base without their citizens' knowledge. At the time of this report, there have been many sightings and ongoing pleas for help, but the government has refused to help. Investigators confirm the militia are currently using Doe's compound in Zouay-Drou for secret meetings and storing large weaponry without the family's knowledge. Sources claim Weah is trying to purchase Doe's property through a secret party. Furthermore, Weah is behind the large number of citizens from Nimba moving into Grand Guinea to destabilise the county and plot their revenge. Ringleaders in this evil plot are Zhu Penyu and Kai Farley, who've been paid millions to betray their county and people. Both Penyu and Farley have been at the very core of election rigging and numerous corruption scandals, such as the disappearance of Alfred Dunner, a magistrate from the elections department who refused to participate in rigging elections. They report directly to disgraced Nathaniel McGill, who's been linked to secret killings, now blacklisted by the US for corruption. Weah's plan is twofold. First, burn down Doe's compound to destroy any trace, then eliminate citizens of Grand Guinea, thus allowing the Burkinabés to take over the county, and fulfilling Weah's agreed plan with Sirleaf. Similarly to the destruction the Burkinabés caused in Ivory Coast. Next stop for this militia is Monrovia. Again, they're being fully funded and well taken care of with the new money, which never made it into circulation. This money was kept as Weah's personal stash to pay his illegal army and illicit activities, such as flying in prostitutes from India and supporting his reggae music career. Finally, sources have confirmed that Weah is building a protected facility on Broad Street to secure the money outside of the banking system. We will continue to bring you updates on Weah's secret plans. Our prayers are with the citizens of Liberia.
Okay, now let me pull it right there. We'll play the second one, but let's dissect the first video. First of all, my first question here to you, Moba Kesedi, is after this video started trending on the social media, a lot of allegations and accusing fingers were pointed at the ANC political leader, Alexander Cummings. Why do you think so?
Obel, I mean, first of all, I want to state for the record, I don't know if the microphone is on.
Yeah.
I want to state for the record that whoever did that video is irresponsible, and the individuals behind the video must be found and prosecuted. And I also want to state that the allegations made in that video are wild. Many are unsubstantiable. But I also don't want to discount the fact that this government, led by President George Weah, is the one that is behind the video.
How did you know? Is it because Mr. Cummings, a political leader, said it?
No. It is because there is a station sponsored by funds that are going to the National Security Agency of Liberia that plays the next video you're about to talk about. They created,
which is also an allegation.
it is not an allegation.
No,
They
I
are
come
playing
in-
that
I come in-
station
no, no, no.
produced. Excuse me, Robert.
No, let
The
me explain my
station
thought on this.
produced.
No, you don't know what
the
I'm
station
trying to say.
produced the video
Moba,
and they're playing it.
Moba, I'm coming.
Mhm.
I'm not talking about the video I'm about to play.
Okay.
When you make an allegation that funds from the national security is being used to support a particular station, I'm saying that's an allegation which we're going to do a fast check on.
Okay.
But my point is, you said the government did what has been trending. With those informations in that particular video, that could see negative image of the government, that could instill fear among citizens like it did already. A lot of people were very much afraid. And they thought what came out of that quote-unquote international wire that was not traceable, no name of the reporter. In fact, in the video, there were some issues with the Zopeno and Kai Fale name.
But
Placing Kai Fale on Zopeno, placing Zopeno on Kai Fale.
Oh.
These were things people started tracing and looking at. Except that you people in the ANC agree with some Liberians that that video is fake or it is the making of the government.
the
Which
video is the making of the government. But before I even go to the
so
details,
it is not
excuse me,
a fake thing.
it is the making of the government.
Okay.
In as much as it is preposterous, it is irresponsible, it is careless to the core, but it was produced by the government with government resources. Now, who has been in the habit of trying to instill fear in the Liberian population? The government. Who has been using the MCC through Jefferson Koji to fund a local terrorist group, the CDC COP? It is the government. Who has been attacking opposition people, people who disagree with George Weah? The government or the CDC officials. Few days after the production of that video, they produced another video and started to use the NSA-funded radio station to play the video. So if they have the capacity, that station has the capacity to produce a fake video, playing a fake recording every morning, afternoon, evening, and night in the name of trying to defame and besmear the reputation of a credible opposition leader. Who do you blame for the video? The government has done everything.
What sense does it make?
But
for the government
there is a
actually-
correlation between the government's action and everything alleged in the video.
Great. You struck a very nice point. But my point is, what sense does it make for the government to produce a video against us?
The sense is
to
that
instill fear amongst our citizens.
because first they want to steal the election. I mean, that's the fact. And then the government want to make the opposition to feel insecure. The government want to frighten opposition leaders. Today, while coming to the studio, members of the ANC Youth Congress could not allow me to work alone to come to the studio.
Why?
Because they are afraid for my life. They feel the government will come after me. That is the single message.
Why would the government?
Excuse me,
come after
Obed. Because that is the message Josh Weah, through Jefferson Koji, and all the other people have been sending out to the Liberian people since Josh Weah became president. Tell me, the CDC COP guys who attacked peaceful students on July 26, where have they gone with the prosecution of these
They
guys?
went through the process.
Where have they gone with the prosecution
They were
of these
bailed
guys?
out.
Tell me what has happened to Jefferson Koji since he attacked students at the University of Liberia on that famous day when the university students decided to memorialize the late Dr. Amos Sawyer. What has happened to Jefferson Koji? Tell me what happened to Jefferson Koji when he attacked Colina Scra in District 13. Nothing happened to Jefferson. Excuse me, Robert. But the government has been consistently and persistently doing everything she can to instill fear within the Liberian populace. And the production of that video is just an icing on the cake. But excuse me, it's an icing on the cake. But what they are trying to do here is to try to pin the opposition the opposition black. Now,
right after Alexander Cummings,
you need to give me the time.
It is your political
You need to
leader,
give me the time to unravel the secret behind that video.
You won't do that. But they are specifically accusing Alexander Cummings and no other opposition.
Good. They are accusing Alexander Cummings. Granted, the very next day, they are playing a fake video. They produce a fake video. They are playing it on the NSA-funded Freedom FM every morning, afternoon, evening, and night, making wild allegations against Alexander Cummings. So, Obed, the thing is so very clear. It is unambiguous. We all know George Weah is irresponsible. The government produced a video. They are using it to try to defame the opposition folks. Now, the guys are instilling fear in the Liberian population, right? And then they produce a video to make the opposition to look bad. I can tell you tomorrow when George Weah speaks at the United Nations, he will make reference to that video to say, oh, opposition people are trying to defame the government. But that is not the fact.
That's how it appears.
That is what the government wants to make it look like, but that's not true.
Let's go to
the fact here is it is the government actually that is instilling fear within the Liberian population. And the reason why people are afraid, and they are right to be afraid, is that many people have been killed under mysterious circumstances, and the government has never brought any responsible closure to the death of those
government had sponsored a autopsy report to that. Moba, where are you
and
coming
you know
from?
the controversies. You know the controversies have been surrounding most of those deaths. In fact, the only case in which the government actually did pay for an autopsy, allegedly or purportedly pay for an autopsy, was in the case of Princess Cooper. What about the lives of Dave T, who died mysteriously on Broad Street? Okay, what?
The justice minister was at the place presenting that particular report.
Obey, let me carry back to Princess. The family of Princess, peace or ashes, the family of Princess.
No, let's go to the
continue.
Of the
Excuse
video.
me.
No, let's go to the
The family of Princess could not continue dealing with the government because the government proved to be grossly incompetent, careless, and reckless with how they were handling the death of their loved ones. They could not continue dealing with the government. Now, the issues in the government are clearly back to the government. The government produced a video to make the opposition look bad. Now they are playing a video against the Alternative National Congress. But Obey, you don't have to agree, but that's the fact. The government produced a video. Who is playing? But Obey, who is playing a fake video on their network? It is the government.
The fake video.
This is simple.
The fake video does not in any way justify that an opposition leader.
But the fake video.
Sponsor another video.
No, the fake video points to the fact that these people have experience in producing fake videos.
Let's go to
they go ahead and produce
that video. One, you talk about the home of former President Samuel Kando being used.
Who talked about it?
Sorry, the video talked about the home of former President Samuel Kando in Grenjide being used as a training ground for rebels. There was a video from Grenjide County, which one of our correspondents in Grenjide visited the home of former President Kando, and the place is there lying in room, bushed up, nothing of such, no symbol of training. In fact, the very minute that particular video came out.
Obey,
how could the government do that?
Obey, what George Weah has done since he became president.
Do you agree with some of the things in the video? Let me ask you before we proceed.
Obey, I mean, let me learn my thoughts.
No, do you agree? Answer this, then we'll move forward.
First of all, I don't support anything fake.
Okay.
It is preposterous to have even produced that
Contents in the video. Is it that the video is fake because it is not institutionalized, or is it that someone is trying to send a message across?
The government is trying to send a message across. I want you to know that
George Weah
is trying to send. No. Excuse me. What George Weah is trying to do, right? I just gave you a chronological order of the many instances of violence that have been perpetrated by government officials. The video is produced 2 days later to prove to you how irresponsible our president is, or how irresponsible the government is. Less than a day later, after the video was produced, they all started to point accusing finger at a single opposition leader to try to make him look bad, like the bad guy, right? And then 2 days later, or the same day, they have another fake video produced attacking that same person. What a responsible government should have done was to immediately, if they don't have the capacity to investigate who produced the video or whatsoever, and they were clean, they would have immediately paid for international folks who have the technological sophistication and knowledge to be able to investigate how the video came up and where it came from, to identify the sources. The Americans, our international partners, condemned the video. You have reached out to them so that they could help you. Excuse me. They condemned the video. They could have helped you to name the persons or person behind the video. Now, but the government is irresponsible and grossly incompetent. So they try to make someone look bad. Look, it is so glaring, it's so clear that George Weah is the one behind the video because he's going to the United Nations to say the opposition trying to make his government look bad. That is what they've always been saying. But it is not the opposition that went to the CDC headquarters and beat Melvin Sacker. it is the CDC Youth Congress that beat Melvin Cycle at the CDC headquarters. It is not the opposition that went to District 13 and attacked Colonel Kratopa and all her people. It is CDC seditions under the direction and control of Jefferson Koji that did that. It is not the opposition that went to District 15 and attacked Talia Uriel and burned her vehicle. It is the CDC and CDC officials. It is not the opposition also that paid or led the CDC COP on July 26, 2022 to attack peaceful students before the American embassy and beat them up and nearly killed and nearly maimed Walter Cecilio. It is not the opposition. So look, the government is incompetent. The government is a grotesque government. They have a proven record of irresponsibility. And look, the guys are so disorderly and disorganized to an extent where whatever they do can easily be, unraveled. And we did that in less than a day, and we realized how it was done by the government. Context in the video. Look, it is fact that some of the allegations made in the video are things the government officials are doing. Look, Obey, you are not out of Liberia. You live here. How many people getting missing every day? People are getting missing. How many times?
People in the opposition say it.
So the families of those that are crying.
No, not as the way you people
haven't we had multiple disappearances since George Weah became president? Haven't we had several instances of violent attacks against opposition people and people who disagree with George Weah?
The president has been coming down hard on those things. He wrote your political leader and told him that he has got no history of violence.
No, first of all, he has a history of violence.
Inception,
he has a history of violence. George Weah served as one of the biggest sponsors of Model. We know that. So George Weah has a history of violence. Even when he was playing football, you saw George Weah, he headbutted an opponent. How can you say such a man does not have history? That is not petty. That is not petty. No, Obey. That is why Liberia is where we are. We overlook these things. You say, oh, they're petty. They're not petty. Paying thousands of dollars to Model to come and kill our people, you consider that to be petty? That's not acceptable.
When your bearer was in his comfort, President Weah was lobbying and talking and striving for the peace we now enjoy today.
No, when Mr. Cummings was honestly working and helping Liberians, President Weah was sponsoring war and killing our people.
How has Cummings helped Liberians? In which direction?
A lot. I don't want to start going through that, but I want to correct your statement. I want to correct your statement first. That while Mr. Cummings was helping Liberians and showing that our people in Nigeria, look, there are Liberians.
Mr. Cummings was helping.
If you want us to go to war days, when Mr. Cummings was in Nigeria, there are hundreds of Liberians.
That was which year?
Excuse me.
That was.
There are hundreds of Liberians.
There are
hundreds of Liberians.
I don't want us to sugarcoat things.
Sugarcoat things.
Go ahead.
So what? Can you give me the dates on which George Weah went to any refugee camp out of Liberia to help people? Give me dates. No, you give me dates. You give me dates.
The 90s.
Give me dates.
Moving
in the same 90s when Mr. Cummings was in. Excuse me. In the same 90s when Mr. Cummings was in Nigeria, he was helping our people. He was going to the refugee camp in Nigeria. I mean, Liberians who went there, he provided lodging for them.
Which refugee camp in Nigeria?
Excuse me. He was helping our people in Nigeria. People when they lodged with him, and he was providing for them. Look, Obed, the fact here is George Weah sponsored the war in Liberia. So it is just unacceptable for the man who served as one of the major sponsors of a major rebel group now sitting as president, making and creating videos to instill fear in the Liberian population, to instill fear in the opposition, to stop them from campaigning and going out. Today, we cannot walk free in our own country because we are afraid for our lives. The video is intimidating. It is arousing. It is something that brings down terror in the spine of every Liberian citizen, including we, the opposition folks. I'm afraid for my life. Sitting on in your studios today, I don't know what is happening out there. I don't even know whether my car is safe, whether the guys are ransacked it or whatsoever. No, the guys have history. No, seditions. The CDC, this government has history of doing that time and time and again. And no one will be surprised to see that they can do it.
More about when you come to the national disco with pieces of...
I just give you evidence.
With factual information.
District 13.
You need not to panic because you're coming and saying the truth. You're coming with the facts.
The CDC government has produced 2 videos in less than a week, and the 2 videos are trending. One makes very grotesque allegations of terror in our country. That is something that makes us scared. We have put our folks on heightened security alert because we need to watch our backs. George Weah and the government have proven time and time and again that they do not have the capacity to be able to
Let me
provide for
play
the
the next
individual
video. More
and collective.
I'll hold you there.
No, the next video is
I'll play
CDC
this.
propaganda.
No,
Obed. You don't want to.
wait.
You
I'll
don't.
play
You know. You don't want to
Hello,
desecrate.
let
Excuse
me
me,
play
Obed.
that video.
You
I
don't
will
want to
play
desecrate. You don't want to desecrate the sacredness of this platform
I will
by
play-
playing something that is
I will
totally
play it.
unfounded.
I will
It's
play
baseless.
it.
It
I will
has
play-
no iota of truth
In
in
as
it.
much as the first one was unfounded, it was baseless. I'll play the second one. Listenership. You can use a discretion in terms of listening because what we're about to play maybe will sound unpleasant to your ears. But let's listen to this. Listen.
Alex Cumming, presidential candidate in Liberia, intends to win the 2023 presidential elections by he and his rich friends paying millions of dollars to lobbyists in Washington, D.C. to sanction Liberian government officials. Mr. Cummings, in collaboration with Jerome Verdier, Yacindy Martin, Henry Costa, all haters of George Weah, and Rich Ludenis, a stinking rich friend of Mr. Cummings, and also a gay, have successful in influencing sanctions on a number of officials. These officials are Nathaniel McGill, Bill Twelway, and Cyrenius Cephas, all of who were officials of the Weah administration and have since resigned. Mr. Cummings recently visited Washington, D.C. to buy more sanctions through lobbyists. This time, his targets are Samuel Twell and Jefferson Koigi. The Liberian opposition in desperation to seize power have created a fake news article and a fake fraudulent and misleading video aimed at stoking fear in the Liberian people who passionately love their president, Dr. George Weah. Please contact the U.S. Senate Foreign Relations Committee on 202-224-4651.
Okay, let me leave it like that. More about Cassidy. I guess you listen. You listen very, very well to the next video. What happens? What runs to mind? How has Mr. Cummings, in fact, and the ANC been reacting to that particular video? In the video, it struck some key things that Mr. Cummings is desperate for power to take over the presidency of this country. So he's involved with one lobbying with the U.S. to sanction this government, to stop aid from coming to this government. He is a gay who is working to ensure that comes to this country. In the video, it's also alleging that he's one of the reasons, alongside Jerome Verder and others and everyone. Yes.
Do you believe the allegations made in that video?
I'm asking you.
I want to ask you, as a journalist, as an independent journalist, have you tried to verify the authenticity of every allegation made in that video? I mean, you have not. But Obed, let me say this, right?
No, this is what I've done. I've condemned all of the videos coming up in recent
Out of the
times.
CDC.
The first video
That
and
came
the
from the
second
CDC,
video,
the second
I don't
video
know
from the
where it
CDC.
came from.
This
not
first
have
video
the
from
fact.
George Weah, the second video from George Weah.
So we shouldn't be running the
Obed,
first
the
thing
video
at this
came
time.
out
No,
the
I just
very
want to tell
day.
you my
The videos came out. Look, George Weah produced a video, waited. The moment he left Liberia, he ordered his guys to release the videos. Right? Now, but let me say this. The reason this government...
Which we have now established as a fact.
That's a fact. That's a fact. The
It's
reason...
an allegation to me.
Obed.
You're alleging.
Obed.
You are alleging.
Obed. It is a fact that
You are
when
alleging.
the videos came out when George Weah left Liberia.
So what?
That is
Does
a
it
fact.
justify
Isn't it?
that it came from President Weah?
He gave the order and said, I'm going to the UN, you'll release a video. When
Let's
I go
go
to UN, I'm going to release a statement and say the opposition trying to make the government
That's
look
what
bad.
they accept in that video.
No. Obed. There's something I must say here for the record.
Go ahead.
The government is pointing accusing fingers at Mr. Cummings because they consider him the greatest threat to George Weah's re-election attempts. So we know that for a fact. They consider Mr. Cummings. But I mean, that's a fact. Who are they fighting every day? Alexander Cummings. Who are they making wild allegations
They want
against
Alexander Cummings to be
Who
the
are
only
they?
person to even
Who are
contest
they
President
threatening?
Weah.
Who are they threatening every day? Alexander Cummings.
President
They
Weah
don't
said
want
he
that.
will
No, trust me,
take
they
it.
don't want that. Trust me, they don't want that. Because Mr. Cummings comes with a record of great experience and producing measurable results in all of the capacities he served around the globe. Mr. Cummings comes with integrity, which George Weah does not have. Mr. Cummings comes with independence of mind and the political will to be able to put his feet down and change this country.
This man you
than
talk
any other
about
person.
of
Now,
integrity has been accused of major issues. In
let me come
in the
to
political scene.
let me come to some of the allegations made in that video.
Good.
Take for example,
Mhm.
to tell you that these people don't even know what it means to be government. And Obed, for the record, George Weah has produced more Zogos than doctors since he became president. He has produced more ruffians and thugs than doctors
How?
since he became president.
How?
He has produced more Liberians than teachers since he became president.
How?
So
How?
you will not, excuse me, Obed,
No, how? I want to know how.
you can see the number of Zogos in Liberia has increased.
How have they been?
No
increased?
doubt
Is it
around
the making of the government?
What? It is the making of
It
the
is by
government.
will that
They-
these people decide to go.
See
to
how
take
the
jobs?
CDC COP folks, they have a camp. They have a camp where they train these guys, the CDC COP folks. Those were boys I knew. Today I don't know them anymore. You cannot associate them with them because they are surviving on drugs that are being imported by George Weah.
CDC.
George Weah is infesting these guys with drug taking and he uses them at his will and pleasure. So that's not something to joke with, Obed. But let me come back to some of the allegations made in that video. How can a certain government say a private individual has been able to lobby the US government? That's like you telling us Alexander Cummings has more money than the entire US government combined. I mean, how can you make a god out of one person? It is ridiculous to even consider that Alexander Cummings can go to the US government and say, sanction this person, sanction that person, and they sanction them. Then that means Alexander Cummings is more powerful than President Joe Biden. That's how preposterous, the allegations. Excuse me, man. That's how preposterous. That's like if you go lobby, excuse me, you go lobby and do. The U.S. government works at the will and pleasure of Alexander Cummings. That's what he's saying.
It don't mean that he has gone and pictured.
Judging from the fact that this government believes within herself that Alexander Cummings can single-handedly determine what the U.S. government does with the government or what our international partners do with the Liberian government, that just means, let's make Mr. Cummings president. Since he has the capacity to lobby. Excuse me now. Excuse me, since Mr. Cummings has the capacity.
He's desperate.
Since Mr. Cummings has the capacity to lobby our international partners, our traditional and most important partner, the United States, to be able to bring sanctions on the government, let's make this man president so he can lobby with the U.S. to change Liberia so our people can stop suffering, so our people can stop dying, so that we can have homes where we can take care of these dogos and train them and make them productive citizens, so where we can improve the human capacity development of our country, where we can make sure that education in Liberia gets better, where we can make sure that our youth get jobs. Let's make Alexander Cummings president because he's more powerful than George Weah is. Even though George Weah is president.
Is he working with Verdier?
Every person who is an opposition to George Weah is considered a gay, is considered working. Look, this is the first time in the history of our country where the sitting government believes that when you criticize the government, you hate the president. Look, we have sent our presidency to the box. That's what we've done. We have a post-total sitting as president. He does not know his left from his right. In fact, as
how will you say that?
He doesn't know his left from his right.
How will you say that?
Because it is only someone who does not know his left from right that will sit and conclude that an opposition leader is more powerful than the
this
sitting
is the
president.
man who has beaten you head on, in fact, by far margin. Why margin?
Gabriel Yungan once said George Weah's legs are better than his head, and he's proving it every day. George Weah's legs are truly better than his head. Look, you are the head of our government. If Nathaniel McGill steals, how can you now come and sit down and say it is Alexander Cummings that said it should sanction him? When in fact the US government has a means. The Treasury Department is very independent. This is not the CIA or FBI making allegations. This is the Treasury Department. They have been able to trace the huge stack of money these guys have in foreign banks and every place. And you said you believe in yourself as though you are being hypnotized and you are living on in utopia to conclude that Alexander Cummings is the one that has sat down and said sanction him and they sanction him, sanction the government and they sanction him. I mean, are you kidding me? What parity of reasoning is that? If it is not people who belong nowhere close to power, George Weah does not belong anywhere close to even be a sitting mayor, at least to talk about even be a senator or becoming a president. That is why Liberia is going backward. That is why Liberia is going backward, and we will do everything we can democratically to bring a halt to this parading decadence in our governance structure. Since the falling of Liberia, no one has so pervasively and grossly and shown gross disregard for the rule of law, for the lives of our people than George Weah has done. George Weah is the worst president in the history of this country.
So say an opposition.
So says Liberians.
No.
Go out there, take a microphone out there.
The rest of the Liberians.
Take a microphone out there. The majority of our people.
No.
Go to Nima County, go to Grand Creek County. See how Liberians are struggling. They cannot even fend for their families. People work day and night, every day. 300 65 days in a year only to find ends meet. You see, we have more Liberians selling in the streets than those that are buying. Look, the government is just there are no jobs, but Joshua comes and tell you.
You're speaking as if to say Alexander Cummings, when elected as president, will come and
Alexander
all of
Cummings.
these things.
Well, yes, I'm speaking as if and knowing that Alexander Cummings, more than any other person contesting, and more than all the other contestants for the Liberian presidency, understands economics, understands finance, than all of them combined.
What has he been doing to contribute towards the upliftment of this country? Is he waiting for us to only elect him as president?
Obed,
Then he can fix Liberia's
that question should come from someone who just came from
America.
No, you live here. You've seen Alexander Cummings just 2 days ago. The Cummings Africa Foundation gave out scholarships to private university students. And you want to ask me what Alexander Cummings is doing? Excuse me, Alexander Cummings has it.
What
In
impact?
2004, did you see a newspaper publication that T.P. Williams placed on Facebook, which pointed to the fact that Alexander Cummings sent drugs back to Grand Bassa County in 2004?
What's happening?
Hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Sent to Grand Bassa County. Look, Alexander Cummings has always been involved with our politics. Alexander Cummings
What
has
could say
always
he did nothing? Why serving as Coca-Cola factory?
Only people under the Sycamore tree will say such a
Cummings
thing.
was enriching himself.
Joshua was playing football, he was enriching himself, even though he spoiled his money and now he has come back and he's stealing from our people. He contributed nothing. All he's contributed was first to contribute to the killing of our people by supporting Model, a rebel group. So Joshua killed hundreds and thousands of people. Another thing Joshua has done is to be killing our people by stealing and living large while our people are struggling and dying every day all around the country. That is another thing Joshua has done. No, I want to count the things Joshua has done for this country. Joshua steals from ordinary people. People who are selling bitter ball, people who are selling pepper in real life. Joshua is stealing from them. Joshua is the thief of the Republic of Liberia.
Granted, I hold you there. Alexander Cummings' contribution to this nation,
far outweighs anything Joshua has ever done for Liberia.
Let's forget
about Cummings' contribution to Liberia far outweighs anything Joshua has done for Liberia. Cummings has been a blessing to Liberia, whereas Joshua is a curse to Liberia.
How has this been?
He's sending people to school. He's sending a lot of Liberians to school. Even you, Obey, you can benefit from the Cummings Africa Foundation Scholarship Fund drive. There are Liberians, during the coronavirus, during the coronavirus pandemic, quite recently, Cummings contributed $150,000 cash to help Liberian medicine drugstores and hospitals around the country. Then you want to say, what has he done?
Catalog Cummings' contribution.
I cannot, if you want me to name all the things Cummings has done for Liberia, we'll not leave from here today. Let's spend the rest of the day. I will go through. So if you want me to start cataloging them, I will go through them, right?
I'm
so give me the time to talk
he
about
was
them.
working and rose up to that.
I just told you about 2004. At that time, where was he? He wasn't in Liberia. He was not in Liberia. But he contributed. Cummings was not in Liberia. But we had Ebola crisis here. Cummings contributed by his own power. We were able to get over $1 million to fight Ebola in Liberia. Then what are you saying,
for which mean? Which mean?
You don't know what Cummings flew on a private jet to come to Liberia and met the president of the Republic, and Coca-Cola through Cummings was able to give $1 million to the fight against Ebola? Oh man, look, the facts are hard and they are there. You cannot dismiss them. This is not about, look, the only difference between Cummings and George Weah is when George Weah gave 200,000+ to kill people, and he gave $50 to help somebody, he can't raise our whole $50 thing. He talk about it everywhere.
That's the
difference.
When Mr. Cummings, many Liberians over the
all
years,
of the amounts he's paid for school fees does not count. It doesn't even amount to 1% of what Mr. Cummings has paid.
Let me go there. I will ask you specific questions as well.
Okay.
Prince Yomi Johnson of Nimba County has been saying some things about Alexander Cummings, giving him money, and that Cummings is desperate. How have you people been reacting to the senator of Nimba County?
Okay, look,
from that particular statement.
Let me start with the premise first about being desperate. Cummings is so desperate to change this country because George Weah is sitting as president and all he's doing is to steal from our people. Now, as a patriotic and nationalistic Liberian, we all should be very desperate. We should be yearning for 2023 to arrive today so that we can put this post-total out of the Liberian presidency. Because George Weah, our desperation should lead to kicking George Weah out at the ballot, and that is why Mr. Cummings is committed to
and so many people Cummings is
so desperate. Excuse me. Cummings is so desperate. Obey. Excuse me. Cummings is so. Give me a chance. Cummings is so desperate.
I'm telling you.
Cummings is so desperate to come and be president because he tired seeing our people dying from preventable and curable diseases. Just recently, a government official died because he went to JFK and just had his tooth removed. He had toothache removed one of his teeth. He had to die. No, Obed, stop that.
Come and just say something here. And you say
Obed, the fact you are a journalist.
No.
You are a journalist.
You are saying this.
I'm trying this for you.
Supposed to be
You are a journalist.
Listen.
Who Obed?
Government official.
Pick up the phone. Call the Minister of Information and ask him. Pick up the phone. Call the Minister of Information and ask him. Our people are dying at the John F. Kennedy Memorial Hospital. Obed, is it not a fact that our people are dying at John F. Kennedy Memorial Hospital?
You made specific reference to a government
recently a government official that
for removing his tooth.
Obed,
that is a joke.
It's not a joke. It is a fact.
Stop joking.
It is a fact.
I'll
find it for you.
Issues.
Yes.
No, let's go.
That's a real issue. The real issue is our people are suffering. The real issue is our people are dying. The real issue is the young people in Liberia do not have jobs. The real issue is our education is so bad it has gotten worse. The real issue is Mr. Cummings believes in education to an extent where even a warlord went to him and said, "Oh, I'm building a university," and he admitted that Mr. Cummings contributed. It's not about him. It's about the people of Nima County, because Alexander Cummings looks at every Liberian regardless of who you are or where you come from. He wants to ensure we have quality education in every place. So look, Prince Joseph's testimony is clear evidence that Cummings is truly committed to changing this country, and you should be proud of him.
For giving him money, he wanted Prince Johnson on board and to talk to Kun.
Oh wow, look, Mr. Cummings can talk to Kun or anybody directly. He doesn't have to go to Prince Johnson to get Prince Johnson's.
That shows how desperate Mr. Cummings is.
No, listen, it is only people who went to backwater reasoning that will consider a political engagement to be desperation. Look, George Weah goes all over the place.
Why are you comparing George Weah to Cummings? Every time you make analysis, you compare.
Because it is George Weah who want to boot out of the presidency.
Do you think Cummings...
We should not be sitting in that place as a matter of fact.
I know this question will sound very funny. And someone will say, what do you expect Moba Kesedi to say? Can Mr. Alexander Cummings defeat President Weah in an election of two? If the both of them are in that particular...
I pray for the day we will have the both of them on the ballot. Georgia will be beaten. Georgia will be beaten.
Politically,
over 85% vote.
Has Mr. Cummings got a base now to defeat President Weah?
Mr. Cummings has a base.
What is the base?
The base is Liberia.
What's the stronghold of
the base? The base is Liberia. Look. You know, Obed, do not try as a journalist.
I'm asking you.
Obed, as a journalist, do not try to sectionalize our country.
I am not.
You not try. No,
I am not. In politics, and the politics we are so used to in Liberia is time immemorial. A politician must have a base, a pillow politically that will. If I were anybody in the entire country that does not vote for that politician, that particular base will vote.
First of all,
Cummings has no base. There's no proof record.
I'll come to that, but first of all, I want to say you just said. The politics we used to. The politics we used to has failed our people. It is that politics that we used to that made a president of George Weah who is losing our country.
What is Mr. Cummings' base?
It is the politics we used to. It is the politics we used to that made Nathaniel McGill, who was a poor man who could not even afford a back car, today he's a multi-millionaire. The politics we used to. It is the politics we used to that made Serena Cephas to use his position as Solicitor General to imprison Liberians who were not guilty of any crime. It was that same politics we used to made Serena Cephas to go after opposition folks for simply disagreeing with George Weah. It is that Mr. Cummings' base is Liberia. Mr. Cummings' base is Montserrat, it's Nimba, it's Lofa, it's Grandmaster. It's everywhere.
Is it that Mr.
Cummings was to be president of Liberia? No. Look, listen, if you try to sectionalize our country, excuse me.
I'm not in a bad
context. Well, there you asked the question, you gave me the chance to answer. You are in my throat. You are not giving me the chance.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm trying to answer the question, you are fighting me. It looks like I'm dealing with a sedition here, but let me go ahead.
Go ahead.
Right?
Go ahead, please.
The point here, Mr. Cummings' base is Montserrat, it's Nimba County, it's Lofa County, it's Grand Julia County, it's Grand Crew County, it's Riverside County. It's every nook and cranny of Liberia. That is Mr. Cummings' base. Because when he becomes president, he'll be president for all Liberians and all Liberians from everywhere.
Even Liberians of the people?
Even Liberians in the diaspora. Mr. Cummings commends the popular support of Liberian people. That is why every day when George Weah wakes up, he wakes up with Alexander Cummings' name. That is why when this government
through a voter perspective survey, I remember that is what the ANC,
voter perception survey.
Yeah, the voter perception survey is what the ANC was.
There is an upward. There's an upward spiral in the name Alexander Cummings. People are recognizing it, and people are trooping to the ANC. I want you to take a microphone to the headquarters of the ANC today.
Can
There you will
Cummins-
see
can Cummins
hundreds
get
of Liberians
50% plus one vote. In
Cummins
Liberia.
can beat George Weah any day. If we have election today, Alexander Cummins
round.
will be president.
One
I mean,
round.
one round. If you, particularly if you narrow it
Are
down,
you joking?
if you narrow it down to a one-on-one
Are you
situation,
joking?
I'm not joking. It's a fact. If you narrow it down to a one-on-one situation, everybody in Liberia know that George Weah is nothing but a miscarriage in
Let me
our
ask you this
in our
question.
democracy.
We'll take calls very shortly. Many people still believe that Mr. Cummins and the Unity Party State Bureau still needs to sort out things. And in the word, Lema Bowie wrote a letter and said, "Una or united opposition can defeat President
That
Weah
is not a
if
fact.
they must."
That is not a fact.
How will you
That is
react
not
to
a
that?
fact.
How will you say
Obed,
that?
excuse me.
Go ahead.
If you say only a unified opposition can beat George Weah, you are directly
That's what Lema Bowie said.
trying to feed into a CDC propaganda. There is no fact, there is no data to prove that if the opposition does not hold or come totally together under one umbrella, they cannot beat George Weah. That is not a fact. That is a CDC propaganda. Anybody can beat George Weah. The man is incompetent. He is underperforming. He's stealing from our people. Our people are dying every day. They can't get good water. They don't have electricity. Their children can't go to school. Why George Weah children? None of his children, by the way, is like citizen. All his children living out of this country. George Weah living large. He's driving nice cars. And his government officials, they are all living large. And enjoying. Cummins children, they are always getting out of like, they are Liberians. They are Liberians. Unlike George Weah, none of the children are Liberian citizens.
When you are 18 and above,
George Weah is president. George Weah is president of Liberia, and none of his children is a Liberian citizen. No, the fact here is, Obed, everybody knows George Weah is underperforming. Everybody knows George Weah is stealing from our people. Everybody knows George Weah is a common thief, and they want him out of the Liberian presidency. That is a fact.
Let's be conversational.
We are conversational, but you don't want to give me a chance to answer the question.
I'll give you some time to rest.
I don't need your rest. The issues are many we can talk about. So let's go ahead.
We'll
and
talk about
the
many issues with managing time. My point is, Cummins' children are not Liberians.
They are all Liberians. They all carry Liberian passports. They all carry Liberian passports.
They do not reside.
They all carry Liberian passports.
So
they all carry
this
Liberian
is my
passports.
point now. 18 years and above, you've got the right to choose.
How will the
your
president of
nationality.
a whole country, all of the children, none of them is like
Does
is
it
a
control
citizen of
the
that
children?
country? I mean,
The children in terms of that decision,
That is
the
a-
right to choose.
that is a monumental failure of first being a responsible father. As a father, one of your greatest responsibilities is to grow up your children and train them to become nationalistic and train them to become patriots, to love your country. If you so much love Liberia, if you so much believe in Liberia, like Alexander Cummins, all your children will be Liberian citizens. Even though Mr. Cummins wasn't even here, you say he wasn't here, he was out of the country. He had children out of the country, but still all of those children carry Liberian passports. That is a proof of someone who believes in his country. That is a proof of someone who loves his country. Unlike George Weah.
Let me ask you about running mate to Mr. Alexander Cummins. What kind of character you think one must possess to be a running mate to Alexander Cummins ahead of 22? I've been figuring, and we haven't heard about potentially, unlike in the other opposition blocs, we've been hearing some names popping up that could go as vice standard bearer.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of person can be Alexander Cummins vice standard bearer? What kind of Liberian?
Good. I mean, now you've narrowed the question. A Liberian citizen who is first responsible, a Liberian citizen who is independent, a Liberian citizen who is honest, a Liberian citizen who is sincere, a Liberian citizen who believes in Liberia and believes in the collective will of the Liberian people, a Liberian citizen who is committed and willing to stand for this change train that
Who's
we are
the
carrying.
choice? Who's the choice so far?
I mean, we have not made a decision.
No, I'm not talking about the ANC's decision. Who's your choice? Who will you prefer to?
Oh, but in my capacity, if I were to give you a name,
Give me a name.
If I were to give you a name today, you
Let
know it
me
will come
hear
up
you.
in the newspapers. I cannot give you a name
No,
today.
it will not.
It will come up all in the papers.
It
You
will come
run
up.
with it.
That will be your choice.
You run with it. I mean,
You
I
do
said
not
here as a
constitute-
person of authority, I cannot give you a
No,
name.
you do
But
not constitute
there
the
is
entire
a
executive
pool.
committee of the
Excuse
ANC.
me. Yes, but I mean, I sit on the executive committee.
You cannot influence the decision of
I sit on
others.
the executive committee. If I give you a name, you say, "Mabaka already says."
Mr. Cummins could help
Oh,
you
Ben,
someone.
I can tell you no, Mr. Cummins, there is a pool of Liberians that are being considered for the position of running next to Mr. Cummings.
So
And in the not too distant future, whatever name you want to call, I will leave you with the speculation, right? But in the not too distant future, Obey, we will name like a Liberian citizen who will be able to partner with Mr. Cummings to halt George Weah's looting and stealing of our country resources.
Do you think Tewon Gonglo
And I mean, no disrespect for Mr. Gonglo, he's a very good Liberian citizen. If he's been considered, that's a good choice. If we pick him, I'll be excited.
Has the friendship and relationship between Alexander Cummings and Boubacar turned sour to that extent
Mr.
that
Cummings
two men cannot again form or place them in a room?
I will speak for Mr. Cummings. No,
what is the
since I know him
relationship
very
that
well.
you know of?
I will speak for Mr. Cummings.
What is the current status of the relationship?
Mr. Cummings is not
between
better.
and Boubacar?
Mr. Cummings is not better.
No, what's
Mr. Cummings cordial. It's cordial. Mr. Cummings is not better with Boubacar or anybody in Liberia. He's not even better with George Weah. In as much as he believes that George Weah, and he knows, and we all know that George Weah is stealing from this country, he's pillaging our resources, he's just banjoing Liberia. And literally, he still does not hate George Weah. Because look, our differences are ideological. Our differences in our politics is not about hating somebody personally. Today, when Mr. Cummings speaks, he still recognizes George Weah's soccer prowess. He still mentions that. So Mr. Cummings is not a person who hates you because you disagree with him or both of you are not the same political side. That is not the case here. The case here is that you don't agree politically, but we are all Liberians at the end of the day. We all will remain Liberians, and we all will one day proudly die Liberians, unlike our president, unfortunately.
Okay.
But I can tell you, Mr. Cummings is not better with anybody. He does not have anything negative against any Liberian citizen.
Okay.
He believes in changing Liberia, and that is his focus.
Mr. Cummings believes in changing Liberia. That is a focus.